Yes, this is John G. Sutton, Tales from the Jails. I want to talk today about the way that some staff uh, practiced humiliation on inmates. I mean, it's bad enough getting a whack around the head, uh, but that wasn't all the staff did. The staff did humiliate inmates. Seemed to take quite a great deal of pleasure in this, which was strange to me because, I mean, you've no empathy. Maybe they were psychopaths. You know, they were certainly didn't relate to the people in their charge. Anyway, my first experience of prison officers treating inmates with utter disrespect and attempting to humiliate them, was at Strangeways Prison. And it was January 1975. I was straight in. I hadn't started the training program yet, but I was sent to spend my days working in the census office on the postal allocation and young offenders wing, which was K wing, G wing, H wing, and I wing. Yeah, those who are familiar with Strangeways will know that this was not part of the main jail, which was the rotunda, and they got the wings going off like spokes from a wheel. Yeah, no, this was another smaller unit at the top of the prison. So as you go through the gates, that's F wing directly in front of you. Turn right up there about 50 yards on the left hand side, turn left, and there is the entrance to the postal allocation unit that was when I was there. And in the census office I was working, and of course I didn't know much about the prisons at all at the time. I was virtually, it was before my training, but I was paid by the Home Office, and I was in the census unit, and just going through the jobs what I was told to do, read through the letters, make sure there's no threats going out, I'm going to come home and I'm going to beat the shit out of you, stuff like that, or nothing coming in, all the letters coming in. You had to read the letters coming in and the letters going out. Yeah, seriously. So if you ever received a letter from prison, I mean, this will be going back 45, 48 years, aren't we? Yeah, it's a long time. Signed with a little blue pencil at the bottom to say it's been seen by the census office. Yeah, which it had. And one of the staff started laughing, said, "Look at this here, come on, look at this, lads." Passing it, showing it round. This picture had been sent in by the girlfriend of one of the postal allocation units inmates. They were sent to the postal allocation unit to be assessed, medically assessed, intellectually assessed, and then allocated a postal that met their needs. That's the theory anyway. So they started, this senior member of staff started passing this around. What it was a picture. It wasn't a big picture, it was probably about Polaroid size, of this young lady who was, well, young woman anyway. She was got one leg on a chair, yeah, one leg up on a chair and another leg on the floor, and she was exposing her pudenda, yeah, in other words, posing with a fanny hanging out, and he passed this round the thing, said, "Right, well, we'll get this lad in. So it would be about 1 o'clock about 1:30, I think, something like that, in the afternoon, early afternoon. And they got the discipline officer to go and get this lad and bring him in. It was addressed to, because it was incoming mail from his girlfriend. And they got him in the census office. There was 4 of us, I think, 3 or 4 of us working in there. Got a lot of mail coming in and out, and the officer that had found this picture coming in said to him, right, I want to show you something here. And he said, come here. He said, what do you see here? And he showed him this picture of his girlfriend posing with her fanny hanging out. He said, do you recognise this girl? He said, yes, that's my girlfriend. You know, he said, well, she sent you in this pornographic picture. Look at the size of that fanny and all that. You know, it was disgraceful. The poor lad was in tears, you know, humiliated like that. His girlfriend had sent it to him, you know, obviously as a expecting that he would get this picture of her, you know, to help him pass the days away. And there it was on display in the censor's office for all to see. And the staff ripped it up in front of him and said, "No, take this as a warning. You advise her in your next letter out. She must not send in pictures of her fanny and all that. Now get out." Well, poor lad was distraught. You know, I felt sorry for him. Nothing I could do. I mean, I was first few weeks in the prison service. I was working at Sea Wing at Wormwood Scrubs, which was my regular landing at the time. And it was again 1975, but we're going on a few months now, probably be about August, September. And the officer in charge of C2 landing, because don't forget this is the biggest landing in Europe, 200 inmates on one landing, yeah? And the senior officer in charge of that was ex-SAS. He was a great big fella. Nice guy, big fella. And he got all the mail in for the inmates, and he split it up into units, you know, the four, because it was in 4 quarters, you know, 4 staff out there doing the landings. And my quarter was, I think it was number cell 1 to about 25, something like that, yeah. So the top left, yeah. And he split the mail up into 4 pack and gave you that. You gave the mail out, you see. He said, but he said to me, he said, look at this. He said, I can't send this one out, can I? He said, it's dropped out of the envelope. I said, that's it, really? He said, what's dropped out of the envelope? I said, I'll have to put it up on the notice board, you know. So they had a notice board next to the office, you see, on the landing. And put this picture of this woman with it was a picture of her just standing there bollock naked, yeah, with her hands up like this, yeah, as if she's waving at him, you know, waving at her boyfriend. And he put this up on the notice board with a little pin, yeah, and he put a note underneath it, will owner please collect? Seriously, eh? All the inmates going down for the lunch, all standing by, because you look at the notice board, you see, all looking at the notice board, seeing this picture of this poor bastard's girlfriend posing naked with a sign underneath it. Will the owner please collect? Of course, he knew far well who it was, because it hadn't fallen out of the envelope, had it? He'd just taken it out and stuck it on the notice board as a bit of intimidation and humiliation for the inmate in question. Yeah, so that's a typical type of trick. I suppose you could call it gallows humour. But I mean, if I was on the receiving end of that, I mean, I wouldn't expect that my wife wouldn't do anything like that, because, you know, it just wouldn't happen. But for these poor inmates, you know, that was something that the staff did just to rip the piss, basically, and to kind of make the inmates feel vulnerable. I'm certainly sure that if it was me and that had happened, then I would have felt vulnerable. Anyway, that's today's Tales from the Jail. So if you ever do manage to find yourself in prison, tell your loved ones, no photographs of fannies. Seriously. Anyway, Tales from the Jails. This is John G. Sutton. Hey, do subscribe, eh? Thank you.